All right. How is everybody doing tonight? It is 7:17 on a Thursday evening. And how are you feeling tonight? Let me know in the comment section where you're checking in from tonight. I want to know where you are, where you're watching from, what you're up to, because we've got a little weather to talk about. There's some snow coming in tonight. This thing is trending south of Cincinnati. That is the model trend tonight. And so I'm going to share that with you. If you saw us today between 4 and 6 o'clock, you saw that our snowfall forecast included an inch or less for a good chunk of the tri-state. So this is not the big one. The bigger one is likely going to be here this weekend. So that is the one we're really, really concerned with. But this one tonight, it's going to be a nuisance just because of the time frame that we expect this to move in. So the timing's not going to be great again for the morning drive. But anyway, let's break it down. Let's get us started tonight. I want to talk about some arrival times of some light snow tonight. So we're really looking at after 10 o'clock in our southwest counties for some very light snow to move in tonight. And then it's going to pick up generally after midnight, especially in the southern half of our viewing area. All right, who's checking in tonight with me? If I'm looking down, I'm looking at your comments here because I can't see them on the screen in front of me. Nikki's checking in. I know you, Nikki. She's in Blanchester. That's my stepsister, Nikki. What's up, Nikki? Hope you're well. Ashley checking in from Vivi tonight. Barbara in Westchester. Dana, Deer Park. We've got Ronnie in West Union. Bill checking in from Delhi tonight. Debbie in Hamilton. Rhonda Gumm. We've got to be related, Rhonda, somehow. Rhonda Gumm checking in from Batavia tonight. Linda checking in from Bellevue, Kentucky tonight. Kathy in St. Bernard. Michelle in Morrow. Jen in Felicity. Brenda in Sardinia. Holly in Maysville tonight. So all different parts of the tri-state. We cover 26 counties in the local 12 news viewing area. And so oftentimes with these snow events, the weather forecast is going to be a little different for each of those 26 counties. So let's get into it. It's a crazy snow event coming tonight. Crazy, not because it's going to be a lot, but crazy because there's going to be a sharp cutoff between who gets what tonight. So temperatures hold pretty steady near 30. We'll see some light snow developing after 10, southwest counties first, spreading northeast. For many in our far northeast areas, it's not going to be until well after midnight that we begin to see the snow pushing in. I said rain because there's rain in southern Illinois, right along that frontal boundary that I'm looking out there south of St. Louis. But there's a look at the snow streaking tonight out of Iowa, through Illinois into Indiana. And as you look at the radar trends here, this is all moving to the southeast. So the bulk of this is going to stay to the south of that red line that I have on the screen. So areas south of that red line are going to see the most impact and the most snow. Areas north of that red line, the impacts are not going to be as great, not at all. So what tends to happen with these little clipper lows, and we call them clipper lows because they move very quickly in the jet stream. Typically, these clipper lows don't produce a lot of snow for us. They're light snow makers, 1 to 3 inches in general. I think that is what this one is going to do for some parts of the tri-state. But they're called clipper lows because they move very quickly. Call them Alberta clippers a lot of times because they come from up in Alberta, Canada. So that's where the low pressure was last night near Alberta, Canada. They slide south in the jet stream. You get a little shot of snow, and then they move by quickly. But generally with these Alberta clippers, we don't see any more than 1 to 3 inches of accumulation, and I think that's generally what we're looking at tonight. There's a look at things. Clouds out there now. There's some returns on radar near Louisville. That's not reaching the ground just yet. But after 10 o'clock tonight, we start to see some flakes fly in places like Versailles, Vivi, Owenton, Kentucky. And then as the atmosphere saturates, we'll begin to see that snow after midnight pushing north of the Ohio River. Places like Wilmington and Hillsborough, it might not be until after 1 in the morning that you get enough saturation in the atmosphere that flakes reach the ground. But notice here on the modeling, you've got some of the darker blues there from Versailles to Vevey to Owenton, perhaps over to Falmouth. And then it's the lighter colors, Lebanon, Wilmington, Hillsborough, Peebles. So that kind of tells a story. Areas southwest are going to see the most in the way of snow from this system. Areas north and east, the least amount of snow with this system. And you'll notice how that darker color doesn't make much headway to the north. It comes up just north of Cincinnati and then kind of stops. So places like Hamilton, Lebanon, Wilmington, Hillsborough, for the most part, you're going to stay in very light snow. South of there, it's mainly light snow, but you get little moderate bursts, especially to the southwest. So that's around 4 o'clock in the morning. Through 6 and 7 in the morning, snow is falling in most parts of the tri-state. You'll notice, though, the dry air is winning out in the north. Places like Connorsville, Hamilton, Lebanon, Wilmington, even to an extent Hillsborough and Brookville, Indiana, the dry air is trying to limit that snow. It's fighting it. So if you're a kid hoping for a snow day up north, your arch enemy is going to be the dry air that's fighting this snow. If you're in Kentucky, much better chance if you're a kid looking for a snow day tomorrow, because we've got some heavier snow. And even places like Switzerland County, Indiana, near Vevey, that's where a little banding may set up, and you got a better chance of seeing some more significant, not significant, but some higher snow totals there. Vevey, Falmouth, over into Robertson County, around Mount Olivet, Owenton, those are the places. And then it quickly moves out tomorrow. So this stuff winds down 8, 9, 10 o'clock, down to flurries and snow showers, and that's all she wrote. That's the end of it. And then we're going to edge above freezing tomorrow, so impacts should be pretty short-lived on treated roadways. Okay, so in the south and west, 9 to 11, the arrival time. Looks like a 10 to midnight time frame for central areas around downtown Cincinnati, and then out in the far east and northeast, may not saturate the atmosphere completely until well after midnight. So it might be midnight 1, could even be after 1, 2, 3 in the morning in some areas until we get a little snow going. But that gives you a kind of a general idea. All right, this is what the National Weather Service did with the advisories and the warnings. So in the pink, those are winter storm warnings. Okay, so Switzerland County, Carroll County, Gallatin County, Owen, Grant, Pendleton, Bracken, and Robertson County. They left Mason County out of that. But technically, that's where you have a winter storm warning. Now, with a winter storm warning, for that criteria, we went 4 inches of snow. Will you get 4 inches of snow down there? Yeah, I'm skeptical. Skeptical they're going to get it. Do you have a chance at 4 inches? Yeah, there's a chance. But I think it's less than a 50-50 chance based on the data that I'm looking at tonight. So areas in pink, you're likely to have the highest impacts. All right, all other areas, winter weather advisory. So in all other areas, snowfall could be less than an inch, could be an inch, could be a couple inches. Some of the winter weather advisory areas might go over 2 inches of snowfall. All right, so let's dig under the hood, okay? How much? How much for Batavia? How much for Vevey? How much for, let's try to answer that question now. Now, typically on TV, I'm going to give you my snowfall forecast. Here's what I think. I'm not going to sit here and show you 20 different models and show you all these range of possibilities, because I think that's useless in the 3 minutes I have on TV. But since I'm here streaming tonight, I've got unlimited time. I don't have anything to do until later, till 10 o'clock tonight when we go on Star 64. So what I want to do, if you guys are game with this, I want to show you all the model data that is in my graphics computer that I have access to. And I'm going to show you each and every single model that we have access to tonight. And then at the end of that, once I show you all these models, I'm going to show you what my human forecast is that Eric DeBroca and I developed this afternoon. So if you guys are game with that, then that's what we're going to do right now. So here it is. This is model number 1. This is the American GFS model, okay, the American model. This is a global model, looks at the entire globe, big scale. It's showing as little as a half inch in places like Wilmington and as much as 2 inches, maybe a little over 2 inches, in places like VV and Owenton. Okay? It's not much. This is trending south. It looks like the corridor of heaviest snow is going to be from Louisville to Lexington tonight. So those are the areas that are going to see the most. Okay? That's the GFS model. Have you heard of the European computer model, the Euro, King Euro? It's considered the most reliable commuter model historically in recent times. Let's look at that one. Looks about the same. Half inch, places like Wilmington, Hillsborough, maybe an inch in Cincinnati, and about 2 inches, VV, Versailles, Williamstown, maybe a little over 2 inches. There could be some spots there that sneak in 3 that aren't shown on the map. That is the European model, okay? Right now, these are the 2 global models that look at the whole Earth. Let's get into the ones that are just over a smaller area, the high-resolution models. Okay, first we have the graph model. This is a proprietary model from the weather company who does our weather graphics here. And you notice it's got some higher resolution here, but it's not showing much. Half-inch Peebles, Hillsborough, about an inch in Wilmington. It shows under 2 inches. Versailles, VV, Owenton, in the winter storm warning area. How about that? All right, high-resolution rapid refresh model, another high-res model. We get this one every hour. About the same thing. It's showing less than a half inch in Wilmington. About an inch in Cincinnati. About 2.5 inches at most in the southwest. VV, Williamstown, Versailles. A couple inches in Walton. And keep in mind, again, you know, these models, that they seldom agree this much. All right, finally, this model, the North American Mesoscale model, the NAM model. This model earlier today was showing 4 inches of snow in places like Owenton and VV. And now it said, whoa, hold the brakes. Showing about a half inch in Wilmington, Hillsborough, less than an inch in Cincinnati, inch and a half, VV, Williamstown. So, I mean, these models aren't showing much snow tonight, which is a stark contrast to, it's where it's been trending. It's been trending southwest. And so the trend continues. It's not trending back north. Everything is trending away from Cincinnati tonight. So the snowfall totals are trending down. Okay? So, you know, with this information, and we look at different blends too. These aren't all the models that we look at. I can't show them all here on the graphics computer. I don't have access to all of them on here. But with the information, this is the snowfall forecast we went with this afternoon. I've got less than an inch. Really, we'll call it an inch or less. Peebles, Hillsborough, Wilmington, Goshen, Lebanon, Hamilton, Liberty, Indiana. And then I said, okay, maybe an inch or 2 bordering that. Batesville down 74 to Cincinnati, out 32 to Batavia, down to Georgetown. And then I said, okay, there's going to be like a sharp change going to the south here. So maybe we get a 2 to 3 from Versailles to Independence to Maysville. And then south of that, maybe someone gets a 4. But you see, like, the highest model data now is about 2.5, maybe 3 inches, even in the winter storm warning area. So this is not anything like the last system we saw that produced some 5-inch amounts in the area. This one doesn't appear to be that way at all. There's going to be a sharp cutoff. Again, the biggest impacts are going to be for the locations that are in blue to the south and southwest, where you have the best chance of seeing 2, 3, maybe 4 inches of snowfall. So everything is trending south. That's what I want to take with you tonight. Morning drive, yeah, there's going to be snow around. There's going to be snow falling. Temperatures hanging out pretty close to 30-ish. Ground's nice and cold, so untreated roads are going to be yuck. Even treated roads could be a bit slippery and messy in the morning. If you're a kid hoping for a snow day, I hope your address is in Kentucky. That's going to be your best chance. The more north you go into Ohio, you still got a chance. I mean, you got to hope your local road crews just blow it and don't do anything tonight. I don't think that's going to be the case. The road crews are awesome, and they're going to be on it. Morning flurries, snow showers tomorrow, giving way to clouds the rest of the afternoon. All right, so that's this storm system in a nutshell. There it is. 1 to 2 inches most. That might be generous. Maybe a 4-inch amount southwest. Maybe a less than an inch north and east. So this isn't the big one. This is the appetizer. It's not a big one at all. Let's talk about the next one. Because if you're disappointed that you're not getting much snow out of this one, ho, 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 I've got news for you, friends. The next one could be the one. And I'm being conservative on this. I'll admit, I'm usually very conservative when it comes to snowfall forecasting. That's something Tim Hedrick taught me. He's like, don't paint us into a corner, Gumm. Don't paint us in. That goes through my head. Every time I'm doing a snowfall forecast, Tim Hedrick is in my head saying, don't paint us into a corner, meaning don't go with all these high amounts and then have to back them down drastically. So I'd rather start small and go up as we gain confidence. So I'm being conservative for the Saturday storm. 2 to 4 inches for most, 5-inch amounts possible in the north. Models are spitting out 6 now for some, but to be honest, on this storm system, models are spitting out over 6 like 4 days ago because it looked like it's going to track right over us, and now it's trending south. Could the one on Saturday change a little bit and give us less? Abso-frickin-lutely it could. Absolutely. These clipper lows, again, they produce really narrow, focused areas of accumulating snow. They're not very wide. And so if it changes a little north, a little south, that changes how much snow you get. It can up it, it can lower it. It's just kind of how it goes. So keep in mind, Saturday, late afternoon and Saturday night could be problematic, okay? I had a buddy text me. Shout out to Dave Wallace, our IT guy. He said, I've got to come into work Saturday. What time do you think the snow is going to start? And right now, the European computer model estimates between 2 and 3 for downtown Cincinnati that we start to see some light snow, 2 and 3 in the afternoon on Saturday. That's when we start to see some light snow. So this is one that we certainly got to watch. They already have a winter storm watch up for this one. Oh, boy. Here we go. And it's only in the northern 2/3 of the area. That's where the models are spitting out the most snowfall right now with this one, the way it's going to track. Watch for a southern shift, though. Happened with this one. Can certainly happen with that one. But the northern 2/3 of the area, those are the spots that have the winter storm watch from Saturday morning through Sunday morning. So they just put it up for 24 hours. So could this become a winter storm warning eventually? Yes, if they're confident in 4 inches or more of snow. Although, maybe they throw a warning up for the heck of it. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. All kinds of different criteria go into deciding these things. Could this be replaced with a winter weather advisory if, say, doesn't look to be as much snow? Yeah. But this is just giving you a heads up. All of southwest Ohio, Boone, Kenton, Campbell County, and northern Kentucky, and they put all of southeast Indiana except for Switzerland County in. So it's kind of a reverse of what they're doing tonight. So that's the winter storm watch, Saturday morning through Sunday morning. Let's look at the modeling for the Saturday system. All is calm Saturday morning, but Saturday afternoon is when the models show the snow beginning first north of Cincinnati with this one, and then eventually spreading to the south. So 2, 3 o'clock, snow arrives, starts to pick up 4, 5 o'clock across the north. Notice it's lighter across the south on this model track right now. And then we take you through 10, and it gets a little heavier in the south. So you get your push of snow there at the end. But it starts in the afternoon Saturday, goes through the entire evening, winds down after midnight Sunday, and then Sunday morning, if you're getting ready to tailgate for the Bengals game, single-digit temperatures by Sunday morning, below zero wind chills. And we're not going to get, it looks like, out of the low teens for high Sunday with wind chills only reaching near zero. So we've got a little snow tonight, perhaps more snow Saturday, more than tonight, and then bitter cold air coming into Sunday and Monday. Near record lows on Sunday morning. We could set a record for the coldest high temperature ever on the date this Sunday. So what is that, the 14th? So it might be the coldest high ever for December 14th as we only reach into the low teens. So, yeah, so again, snowfall accumulation. There's the map where you see some of those dark colors from Cincinnati north and east. Those are 4+ inches for the Saturday system into Sunday. And again, this is the European model, is what I'm showing you here. You know, so two systems that we're watching. The first one tonight, not bringing a lot of snow. Generally a 1/2 inch to 4 inches is the range from northeast to southwest, but the one Saturday could be more disruptive, especially Saturday late afternoon, Saturday evening. Obviously, when it gets that cold, we're going to have impacts lasting into Sunday. So if you're thinking, you know, maybe you head to church Sunday morning, maybe you're going to brunch or something, might be a little touch and go there, to say the least, on Sunday. All right, so let's break it down for you this weekend. Impactful snow likely on Saturday, developing in the afternoon and evening, a high of 30. And then look at that, down to 4 Sunday morning, 12 the high Sunday. We clear out, below zero wind chills Sunday morning. The wind chill only climbs to around zero Sunday afternoon. And I was just texting my tailgate buddies in Lot E at the Bengal trailer. They said, "You going to be there?" I said, "No way." Not me. I'm not that hardcore. 5 at 10 o'clock in the morning after the lots open out there, sub-zero wind chills. 9 at kickoff. This is like the baby freezer bowl here. And then 12 by the final. I guess the good news is there's not going to be a lot of wind. There's going to be a little wind. Just a little wind will make it feel worse. But, I mean, jeez. It's incredible. Incredible. It's going to be cold for that one. Boy, we'll see. We'll see who can toughen that out Sunday. That's going to be tough. Get your long underwear ready. Don't mess with that. And I worry because people out there in the lots have a few drinks. Suddenly you're not realizing you're getting frostbite. So just be careful, man. Be careful. All right, so there it is. And this is crazy. Look at the 52-degree temperature range on the 10-day forecast here. From 0 Monday morning to a high of 52 with rain showers on Thursday. It's crazy. It is just crazy. That's a look at it tonight. Guys, hit me up with some questions if I didn't answer them. And again, if you're saying, what about blah, blah? What about blah, blah? Name your town. Here, I'm going to put this map up again for tonight. Not much snow tonight. Unless you're southwest, you got your best chance of seeing some down that way. But, I mean, you know, what about Butler County, Middletown? Well, there you are. I got you in less than an inch. You can see it on the map there. What about Batavia? Well, I've got you in the 1 to 2, and that might be generous tonight. But, you know, that's enough snow to give us some issues in the morning. The timing isn't good. That's the problem again. This is occurring in the pre-dawn hours, and there'll be snow falling tomorrow morning, you know, during rush. I mean, it's just not, it won't be a good situation, even though it's not much here. It's all about the timing. North of Morrow, got you in less than an inch. Owensville there, I've got you on the line of 1 to 2. You know, Kenton County, Saturday estimates, Jeremiah, 2 to 4. 5 plus maybe. That's where we are right now. So I would say Saturday 2 to 4. And I had that graphic before. If you didn't capture it, if you're joining us late to the game here, I'll bring this one up. There's tonight, and there's the graphic for Saturday. 2 to 4 for most, 5-inch amounts possible north. In complete honesty, models are showing some 6+ amounts in the north in some of the runs. I don't know if I buy that. I mean, they were showing that with this one coming through. Not happening. So that's what we're looking at. Do you think Claremont County schools will get delays? I can guarantee delays, if not closures, in Claremont County. Why do I know that? Because I grew up in Claremont County. And I grew up in the West Claremont schools. And every time when I didn't have school, my buddy Dave in Forest Hills schools, he had school. That's why I know that. I think for sure you're looking at some delays in Claremont County, if not, someone closing down tomorrow. That's my opinion. Even though it's not much, won't be much snow, like an inch or two. If this thing overachieves a little more, but I think that's enough. I mean, I think it's definitely enough to close some schools. Pamela asked about Hebron. Hebron tomorrow, I've got you in the 1 to 2 inch. Might get an inch or two in Hebron near CVG, the home of the International Airport. So Stacy says Cincinnati Public doesn't do delays. Delays kind of throw everybody off. I don't know. I mean, Stacy, with the hills in Cincinnati, you get an inch or two of snow in Cincinnati right before the morning drive, they might just close down. I mean, that's enough to close Cincinnati Public, I think. But again, just gonna have to see in the morning. One thing I can't predict, and people get mad at me, and that's okay. You can be mad at me. People like to be angry on social media. And excuse me, I'm pulling my socks up. My legs are cold. One thing I can't predict is how the road crews are going to do in some areas versus others. I mean, I don't know what their plan is. They don't talk to me. I'd be willing to help them if I could. But, yeah, they don't usually talk to me. So I don't understand always what they're going to do. So, what the game plan is going to be for the different road crews and how they're going to tackle things. And it's complex. I mean, it is certainly complex to tackle these roads and to do what they've got to do. So I can't predict human nature. Snow's hard enough to predict, let alone human nature. So depends on kind of how they tackle it and how they go about doing their deal and, how the snow falls. Now, I think there's a couple of good things here. If you're hoping to travel, and I'm speaking from the perspective of an adult that needs to get on the road tomorrow and head south, the snow this time around for most of us is going to be lighter than the last one we had. So because the snowfall rates won't be as high, if they're out there salting like crazy, then maybe they kind of stay ahead of it, and it can melt faster than it comes down. Now, there may be exceptions to that, especially in the southern half of our viewing area where the winter storm warnings are up. That's where we have a better chance of seeing some of those heavier bursts where it comes down quicker than it can melt even on treated roads. So the good news is that the snowfall rates for a lot of us won't be as high as the last storm. So road crews will probably have a good fighting chance to get things under control. Temperatures aren't going to be terribly cold either. We're talking upper 20s, around 30 overnight. So salt is really effective at those temperatures. And then I think the problems are short-lived tomorrow because the temperatures are going to climb above freezing tomorrow afternoon. So with us going above freezing, I think that's going to make a big difference in helping everything get back to normal really, really fast tomorrow. I think we'll be doing pretty good tomorrow. I think this is going to be kind of a short-term type of thing. Jeff asked, did the NWS out of Wilmington know there was going to be a dry slat that's affecting the snow to fill in more north? And Jeff, very good question. We read their forecast discussions in our office from their office, and quite frankly, I wish sometimes we had closer collaboration because sometimes we're thinking something completely opposite of them. And I would tell you, last night when they did not issue the winter weather advisory for the northern tier counties, I was very much like, yeah, probably would have thrown them in. Just because there's going to be some snow up there. We don't know how much, but, some at least. It was kind of in doubt at that point. Models, last night at this time, for places like Wilmington, models showed as little as an inch and as many as 4.5 inches for Wilmington this time last night. So the modeling still wasn't really giving us any indication of how this thing was going to track. When the winter storm warnings were issued this afternoon for the South, I was really surprised. I would just put it that way. I was really surprised that those were issued. While those areas do have the best chance of maybe getting 4 inches of snow, I think the chance is low. But I mean, maybe they'll prove me wrong and they're looking at something and have some information that I don't have. But I'm just not seeing that tonight. So to answer your question, Jeff, I don't know what they're thinking up there. They only give us what they give us in their forecast. And listen, they do a great job, man. I love the Weather Service. I wanted to work for the Weather Service, but there was a hiring freeze in the late 90s, so here I am in TV. And it's a hard job, and it's a thankless job, especially when they were working without getting paid, and it's difficult. So no, but boy, I would love to collaborate and talk and understand a little more what they're thinking all the time. Sometimes they have it in the forecast discussion. We can kind of dive into what the forecasters are thinking up there, and sometimes they got to write that real quick, and there's not a lot there for us to go off of. So anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at. Again, if you're just joining us, you want to know about tonight. This is what I'm thinking tonight. I'm thinking an inch or less for most areas to the northeast of Cincinnati, an inch or two around Cincinnati, and maybe as you get south of Cincinnati, you get some over 2-inch amounts, maybe over 3, possibly up to 4, but I think that's trending south tonight. I really do. I think that's going to be more Louisville to Lexington. We'll get those 3 to 4-inch amounts tonight. And then, again, the one that is coming Saturday is the one that I'm a little more concerned with. Because I think that one is going to be a little more substantial. Let me show you those. I'm crawling the winter weather advisory and the winter storm warning here at the bottom. There it is. So you got the winter storm warning for Switzerland County in Indiana, and then Carroll, Gallatin, Owen, Grant, Pendleton, Bracken, and Robertson in Kentucky. So that's already started. It goes through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So those are the spots that are going to see the highest impacts. Whether you get that, magical 4 inches of snow that is considered a winter storm around here or not, I think chances are low. It's not a zero chance. There's a chance. Definitely a chance. And then the rest of us, I mean, realistically, it's a 1/2 inch to 2 inches, maybe, is what we're looking at. So just bad timing. So that's why the advisory's up. That's why the advisory's up. All right, guys, I appreciate it. I think that this one again is going to be a smaller one for most of us. I don't think this one is a huge. This kind of even borders being a shoveler for a lot of us. It might be just a nuisance for areas northeast of Cincinnati, maybe from Cincinnati south. You get the shovel out quickly and kind of scrape things off. The one Saturday, a lot more interesting to say the least. So I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for joining me. We had a lot of people on tonight across all of our platforms. And you guys are awesome. Thank you for your support. Thank you for following along on digital. Thank you for watching on TV. I'm going to be looking at, we get new data every hour. I'm going to be looking at everything coming up here. And we'll be rehashing the forecast at 10 o'clock. We'll be on Star 64 in Cincinnati at 10 o'clock live for our newscast there. And then, of course, Local 12 News live at 11 over on Local 12. And I know, listen, I know in this day and age here, from my perspective, I started doing television weather, and I'm gonna come up. Can I have a talk with you guys? Can we have a talk really quick? And for those of you that aren't interested in the word I have to say here, you can tune out right now. But I started doing weather on television. I wanted to work for the National Weather Service, and that was my goal. Growing up here in Cincinnati, I always really admired the folks at the National Weather Service, and I thought, man, that would be a really cool career, and I really wanted to do that. And there was when I was in college, there was a hiring freeze, and there was some budget cutbacks and that sort of thing. So there were brilliant students graduating ahead of me that were way smarter than me that couldn't get jobs with the Weather Service. And so they went to grad school or they did something else. And I thought, well, I don't know what I'm going to do because I don't think I'm smart enough to go to grad school, nor do I want to. And so I ended up doing as a hobby, I was a radio DJ. And I DJ'd at the campus radio station where I went to college in Valparaiso, Indiana, WVUR. And I was doing my radio show from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. It's 10 p.m. Saturday night to 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. And it was homecoming weekend, and some people, old people that were in their 30s, they walked in, and they were looking at the radio station, and a couple of them used to work there when they were in college. And talked to one guy, and he said, yeah, hey, how you doing? I used to work here back in the day. That's cool. I said, what are you up to now? And he said, I'm a meteorologist. And I said, oh my gosh, that's incredible. That's what I'm studying here at school. So we hit it off, and I happened to say, wait a minute, where are you a meteorologist? And he said, oh, I'm a TV meteorologist in Cincinnati, Ohio. What? That's my hometown. Are you kidding me? Who are you? I've never seen you before. Well, you guys might remember Rich Apuzzo. He was the first chief meteorologist at Fox 19. It was him. And we hit it off, and he's like, hey, you should come do an internship with me, this summer. I don't want to do TV. You crazy? Didn't want to do TV. And he basically said, no, please, even if you don't do TV, you should see how we do things in TV. So I did an internship with Rich, and ended up being Fox 19's first ever weather intern back in the mid-90s. And that's how I ended up getting into television. I started in TV after that, after I graduated school. And, back then, you may have had 4 sources for information, maybe 5 if you count the newspaper, but maybe 4 channels that you could watch a newscast, and, you maybe got information in the newspaper that was, a day late on your weather information there. But there were limited ways to get information. Now, there are so many sources of information out there. And I had people messaging me saying, you were saying we were going to get 6 to 8 inches of snow from this storm. And what? No, I never said 6. What? No. But I mean, you guys are trying to get as much information as you can to make decisions that you have to make or anticipate how your life's going to go. And online, there are tremendous amounts of information out there. And I think in this day and age, since there's so much information, it clouds the picture quite a bit. And I think it's even harder to figure out what's going to be happening in this day and age because there's so much information overload. Not to mention, you've got a lot of social media pages now that, they get paid for clicks. And so if you post something really dramatic that is kind of scary and kind of gets people's emotions going, well, that benefits the content creator. And so there's a lot of that going around now. So the bottom line is, I try my very best just to tell you what I think's going to happen, whether it's really bad and dramatic or whether it's, hey, it's not horrible, it's not that bad. So we try to be honest with this as much as possible, and try to just give a fair depiction of what's going to take place. I don't have management, thankfully, breathing down my neck here saying, you've got to hype the weather. We got to have all these horrible weather days, these alert days, and this, that, and the other. And I just don't believe in that at all. The weather doesn't need any drama. It brings enough drama as it is by itself. Bottom line is, I didn't mean to be long-winded and give you my life story, guys, but I just appreciate you guys, and I know you're checking information everywhere. I know that, but I appreciate me being at least one of your information sources, because we try really hard. And I'll tell you, snowfall forecasting is the most difficult thing that you could forecast, because not only do you have the track of the storm system, you've got the thermodynamic profile of the atmosphere, and all of this is just estimated. All the models you see are just an estimation of what might happen. And we've got to take that information and kind of break it down and let you guys know what to expect. And, I had my meteorologist turn to me yesterday, and they're like, oh my gosh, John, there's so many weather stories now, and we've only got 3.5 minutes to tell those stories. And I'm like, well, you've got to break it down very simple and just let people know the biggest things that are going to impact them. You can't get into every single little thing in little detail on television, because quite frankly, we just don't have the time. So use your Facebook, use your Instagram, use your Twitter, use TikTok, use all those platforms to push more information out that's more in depth, and do live broadcasts like this too, where we can go into a little more detail. But there's so many sources of information. There's so much hype. People are getting paid for clicks and paid for likes and paid for shares, that I just appreciate that you guys come to me as one of your information sources. All right. I'll see you guys at 10 o'clock on Star 64, 11 on Local 12 if you want to check me out. We're streaming too. If you just don't want to go on TV, you can always get us on our app, online, local12.com, in those places. And I will have more information for all you guys there. Thank you for joining me. Thanks if you're still one of the few people that are still with me right now,